I'll be honest, if you are relying on motivation to get where you want to be, to change your life, to lose the weight, to get on the other side of your struggles, you will fail because you have no foundation with anything that you're working with if you are relying on motivation. Because motivation is fickle. Motivation is like that friend we all have that we love, but we can't rely on. What's going on, team? Welcome back to another episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. If you're new here, welcome to the show. My name's Jared Hamilton. It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm your host. Now, today's episode is a solo episode, but it's a little bit different than what I was originally intending on doing, because today's episode is what I'm calling the Motivation Manifesto. It's basically the tactics and strategies, I believe there's 7 I'm going to give you, on what to do when motivation runs out, because if we're being honest, it's going to. Like Blade, just being very upfront about it, motivation will absolutely leave you, and I want to give you a plan on what to do when that happens. So that's what we're doing in today's episode. Because originally, I wasn't going to necessarily do a whole podcast on this. I did like a smaller training or a little bit, smaller pieces of content on this, and you guys freaked the fuck out. Like you seem to really, I got a really big, what word am I looking for? A really big amount of positive feedback that it was really helpful. So I figured, okay, well, people are enjoying this and it's helpful. Then maybe I'll just put it on a bigger platform and get a little bit more in depth on it. So my notes today are coming from my phone because I actually created originally basically a PDF of this because I wanted to have, I basically gave it first to everyone in the Fat Loss Simplified Facebook group. And fun fact, if you're not in there, you should be, because I put some of my best free content in there. But it's basically, I wanted to create this like motivation manifesto, like 7 things, how to word it, 7 things to do when motivation runs out, because it will. I wanted people to have this as like something they can like put on their phone. I don't know if you're watching the YouTube, I just kind of showed it to you. So if you, by the way, if you're listening and want that, I'll have it in the show notes. If you actually want that downloadable PDF where you can have this with you all the time, just throwing that out there. But that's where my notes are coming from today. So if you are watching the YouTube, which you should be, you'll be seeing me go back and forth to this thing a lot. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of today's show, massive thank you to the sponsors. Sponsor number 1, Flex Pro Meals. Big thank you to those guys because they keep me fed. No, for real though. The big thing with Flex Pro for me that is such a no-brainer and why I love them so much is this way. It's number 1, convenience for me is everything. And I know most people that listen to this, convenience is the number 1 thing in your life as well. As in, if what you're working on, what you're doing is not convenient, you're probably not going to do it. You know, like whether it be you have kids, you have a soccer game, you have to take your daughter to dance practice, you've got work, you've got overtime, you've got all the stuff. This is when we end up in drive-thrus a lot. This is when we stop into the gas station and get like an $8 stick of beef jerky that wasn't satisfying, or you living off protein shakes or whatever. And that's all fine and dandy, but the thing is, that's not only going to be really expensive over time, but a lot of times it's going to be harder to reach your goals. If you're smashing the Wendy's drive-thru 4 times a week, that's a big deal. That's enough to like, okay, that might actually affect your results because there's a lot of calories in that and it may not be as accurate and all those things. So having Flex Pro, at least in my fridge, has been the biggest helpful kind of thing for me, because the meals taste amazing. They're made by a chef. They're on deck in my fridge, ready to go at all times, either that or in my freezer, so they're not going to go bad. And it's cheaper than spending, going through the drive-thru like every day or however often you do. So it's a pretty big deal. It's really, really helpful, and it's going to help you get to your goals faster and more seamlessly. So if that's kind of your cup of tea, if that sounds like, okay, maybe I might want to look into that, go check out their link. I'll leave a link in the description, but also just go to flexpromeals.com. But because I like to save people money, if you use my code HamiltonTrained, and it'll save you like an additional 20% at checkout. So it's an even more of a no-brainer. Okay. Next, sponsor number 2 is First Form. I'm wearing one of their shirts as always. I swear, like people make fun of me. They're like, is all you own is First Form shirts? I go, no, but they send them to me. And I get them with like every order, and they're some of the most comfy shirts ever. So I would almost rather First Form over like Under Armour or Nike or whatever. But anyway, I don't suggest First Form just because their clothing is dope, but because their supplements and who they are is dope. If we want to say it like that, because here's the thing: we all know supplements are not the end all be all. I'm not a big supplement beat off. I'm not going to tell you have to go take them, but here's the truth: supplements can absolutely help with your life and your goals, filling in gaps that you're not getting with food. If you are good, if you're hitting your protein like no other, you don't have any joint pain, your recovery's great, your sleep is great, I think I said protein already, you're having like 5 to 6 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, the whole 9 yards, you're good. You don't need supplements necessarily. But let's say you're lacking in some of those areas. Let's say you definitely don't eat enough vegetables. And so then you're bloated all the time, or you're gassy all the time, or you need the micronutrients from the like vitamins and minerals because you're deficient in some area, or you just know you don't get enough micronutrients. Well, then what are we going to do? If you're not going to eat enough broccoli and asparagus and apples, well, what are you going to do? This is where a supplement comes in, like a multivitamin or a greens powder or something like that, that's going to give you those. Or if you're struggling with let's say your protein intake because you just can't get enough through chicken or whatever food sources, or let's say you're vegan or vegetarian, you have the hardest time getting your numbers up while keeping your calories in check. Well, a protein powder works really, really well. Or if you always end up finding yourself buying shitty ass chalky tasting protein bars or nasty, disgusting protein shakes, and you want something that tastes better, that absorbs really well and that mixes well, that's where these can be a good fit. So if that's kind of up your alley and something that you're interested in or want to level up what you're currently taking, go hit the link below to go to First Form's site and see what they've got going on. I also have down there my supplement YouTube video. If you're not quite sure where to start with supplements or where to go with that, I'll leave that down there as well. But nonetheless, let's get into today's show. Be sure you're subscribed, by the way. Now, let's talk about this. So let me just preface it with this. The Motivation Manifesto, we're talking about 7 things to do when motivation runs out, because it will. Let me just preface it with this. This episode is not a motivation podcast. I, honest to God, don't want you getting fired up and let's go with this. This is this is a motivation episode, but it's more or less I'm going to educate you and get you ready when motivation leaves. I'm not going to give you any tactics or strategies on to get motivated, because that's very surface level. I'll be honest, if you are relying on motivation to get where you want to be, to change your life, to lose the weight, to get on the other side of your struggles, you will fail. Because you have no foundation with anything that you're working with if you are relying on motivation. Because motivation is fickle. Motivation is like that friend we all have that we love, but we can't rely on. They say they'll be at the party at 10 and they show up at 12. Or they say, yeah, I'll be by to help you move. And then they're like, oh, I totally forgot last minute, and they're flaky, that kind of thing. Because here's the truth. You can appreciate motivation. A lot of times coaches like me will talk shit about motivation. That's not the case. You can appreciate it when it's here, but you can't rely on it. It's not stable. It's very fleeting, like any other emotion. So when it's there, bask in it, enjoy it. But there's a joke I put on Twitter the other day. And if you're not following me on Twitter, you should be. It's at Hamilton Trained. I did a tweet the other day. I said, man, it's a good thing that motivation isn't a prerequisite to work out, because I would be fucked. And then I think I even shared it on Instagram, and in the caption I put, if I had $1 for every time I was motivated to work out over the last 3 years, I'd have about $15. I'm not a motivated person when it comes to I'm not motivated to eat right. I'm not motivated to work, especially working out. As a fitness person, I'm the least fitnessy person you'll ever meet. I just like to help people not suffer. That's really it for me. I just use fitness and nutrition and inner work as the gateway to get into that. Now, but here's the truth. When it comes to motivation, again, I don't want you to rely on it. This podcast episode is not about getting you motivated. I don't want you to leave this show and be feeling on top of the world. I want you to leave this episode and go, holy shit, I have the tools, the tactics, the strategies to stay on top and not be derailed when motivation leaves. That's my goal with you, because I'm not here to hype you up. I'm here to change your life. That's ultimately what my goal is. And I don't want to, because at the end of the day, woo-woo, hype you up bullshit is very surface level, and yeah, it feels good. But if I'm being real, I'm not here for, you're not here for mental masturbation. You're here for changing your fucking life. And that's what this is about. So let's get into the Motivation Manifesto. 7 things to do when motivation runs out, because it absolutely will. So let me get this here. Okay. Number 1. By the way, if, like I said, if you want this downloadable PDF to like have on your phone or whatever, I originally made it for my my community in my Facebook group because I put my best stuff in that community. And if you're not in it, first of all, you absolutely should be. There'll be a link in the description if you want to join that. But also, I'll leave a link in the description for my Motivation Manifesto. Okay. Number one, double check what you're doing is actually sustainable, practical, doable, and enjoyable. Here's a big thing. Half you guys, the reason you're not motivated is because it's your plan doesn't allow it. If you told me, you said, Jared, I want you to do cardio every day. I want you to get rid of your favorite foods, no sugar, no alcohol, no carbs, no bread, no going out to eat, no birthday cake, no donuts. Oh, and by the way, I want you to go be motivated and have a good attitude too. Like, fuck you. That's not going to happen. The problem is, it's easy to post on the internet. It's a lifestyle. But the problem is most people don't have their lifestyle in their actual program or diet. Please hear me when I say that. It's easy to post. It's a lifestyle, but you don't have your lifestyle in your plan. You know how many moms tell me that they're scared to eat birthday cake? You know how many wives tell me that date night causes them more anxiety and mental anguish because they're worried about the fucking burger storing fat and knocking them off plan than actually enjoying connecting with their husband? You know how many people tell me they're scared beyond belief? Like, I'm talking about like actually scared and terrified to eat more than 1,000 calories a day. Like, these are the things that are most prevalent. And here's the truth. You can't be motivated like that. How could you be motivated when you're in fight or flight and when you're scared? You can't be. It's not going to happen. If you take everything that you love and care about, throw it out the fucking window and keep you doing an unsustainable plan that you can't actually operate your life in with your family and kids, it's not your fault you're not motivated. The plan doesn't allow it. Right? So right out the gate, this will fix 90% of your problems. If you take a step back and go, man, let me actually take a second and see if what I'm doing is actually sustainable, practical, doable, and most importantly, enjoyable. Because if you love what you're doing, if you have your favorite foods every day and you're not able to miss a single experience, you're not trapped by your results, and everything you're doing is great, your motivation issues will subside. And then also when the days come you're not motivated, you'll have a much easier time showing up because the plan's actually practical and doable and not that big of a deal, right? You're not motivated to brush your teeth, but it's not suffering to brush your teeth. It's not a big deal. It takes 2 minutes, right? But imagine if your teeth brushing protocol was you doing your own root canal. Well, that's a different story. That's a lot of friction, right? If I said, hey, I want you to eat as much as possible in your calorie deficit, eat your favorite foods every day and only work out like a couple days a week. Right? That's like teeth brushing vibes, right? If I want you to just walk every other day, that's like teeth brushing vibes. You may not be motivated, but it's not that big of a deal to do. But if I said, no, I want you to do 2 hours of cardio every single day, eat 1,000 calories a day, and only eat chicken and broccoli, and then you're not allowed to go on date night or have birthday cake with your son. Well, that's more of like you doing your own root canal. So half of this is your plan just isn't allowing motivation. Again, it's easy to say it's a lifestyle on the internet and to your friends and to lie to yourself and say it's a lifestyle, but then your lifestyle is not in your plan because that's when you whip out all or nothing or whatever bullshit. Okay. That's number one. Number two, let's see. Remind yourself why you do all the other stuff you do daily when you aren't motivated. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. You do a lot of shit when you're not motivated. A lot. So like I have a list here. You go to work, you shower, you brush your teeth, you clean your house, and you pay your bills. That's just a few things when you're not motivated. But why? Why do you do those things? It's because you have reasons rooted in pain if you don't. What happens if you don't go to work? You don't eat. You lose your house. Your kids don't eat. You don't have you don't have your phone. You don't have basic necessities. You don't have air conditioning. You don't have heat in the winter. Okay. Why do you shower when you're not motivated to? I was just talking to my wife and I got to bed really, really late the other night. She just got a shower and I'm like, fuck, I got to go get a shower. And I go, man, I just don't want to shower. She goes, I didn't either, but I'm gross. Like, But like that's the thing. Why do you shower when you're in brush your teeth when you don't want to, when you're not motivated? It's because if you don't have good hygiene, you're disgusting. No one's going to want to hang out with you. Your partner's not going to have sex with you. You are going to feel gross, right? Why do you brush your teeth? Because when you don't want to, it's because cavities hurt, bad breath stinks, yellow teeth are gross, right? All of these things. So if you look at like, why do you pay your water bill when you're not motivated to? Why do you pay your taxes? It's because you have reasons rooted in pain if you don't do that. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail for tax fraud. If you don't pay your water bill, you get your water shut off. You can't flush your toilet, all these kinds of things. Because here's the truth. It's easy, and this is not a very popular thing to say. This is where I always say you got to turn on the dark side a little bit. What I mean by that is there are two things that drive human behavior. Psychology teaches us this. It's either pursuit of pleasure, the feel-good things, or the avoidance of pain. Those are the two of the biggest things that drive human behavior, or arguably the only things that drive human behavior. Pursuit of pleasure or avoidance of pain. Now, with that being said, I think personally a lot of people fall onto one category more than the other, right? I'm a very much a avoidance of pain person. It's like the question, would you rather not lose or win? It's would you rather pursue pleasure or avoid pain? So I'm curious, which one are you? But I think they're kind of intertwined, but some people in more or less on one side of those spectrums. But here's the thing. In the transformation and internet space with this stuff, you'll hear a lot of like the overplayed, what's your why? Don't get me wrong. The whole why conversation is great. On the bookshelf behind me, I have Simon Sinek's book called Start With Why. His other book called Seven, I think it's what's it called? I think it's like where he talks about the 7 layers deep of why and all this stuff. Like I love the why concept. Here's the problem with the internet though. The internet has overused it, overplayed it, and now no one takes it seriously. And the why is rooted in happy things usually. And again, don't take this wrong. Those are great. The happy things are awesome. You need to have those. What's your why? The positive why, the why that makes you cry, like my kids, my happiness, my whatever. But here's the truth. Y'all don't know what it's costing you not being where you want to be. Because here's the truth. We always have, when it comes to, okay, I know my words aren't making sense here. If we take a step back and we have this dichotomy of the two things, we'll take brushing your teeth as an analogy. I don't want to brush my teeth, but I also don't want to have cavities. Which hurts more? And you avoid that one, right? You brush your teeth for 2 minutes because brushing your teeth for 2 minutes is less painful and less of a big deal than getting cavities or having a stanky ass mouth. You go to work at a job you hate because it hurts less going to your 9 to 5 than going broke and your kid's not eating. You pay your taxes and other bills because it hurts worse getting your water shut off and going to jail for tax fraud than it does paying the bill. Every decision we make, it goes down to which hurts worse. And you avoid that one. And you do the lesser of the two evils. So here's the thing. We need to put your goals here in the weight loss and transformation world on the same level. Because if you say, I know what to do, but don't do it, you don't know what's at stake. I'll be really honest with you. If you knew how shitty your life was going to be, fast forward 20 years, if you knew all the bad shit that was going to happen to you, if you knew what was at stake right now, you would be executing effortlessly like no one's business. Guys, I remember there's a fun little story, and I'm going to try to not take forever on this episode, but the cool thing with the podcast is it lets me elaborate more and go deeper with some of these things. I had a guy back when I was a trainer, before I built and scaled my online coaching company. I was an in-person trainer just by myself, just a in-person coach. Well, I had a client. His name was Darren. Well, Darren was extremely overweight. He probably needed to lose 100 pounds or more. He had big health issues, like his liver and kidneys were shutting, like he was on transplant lists and things like that. Well, Darren was not consistent at all. He would want to work and exercise and do the least amount of things possible. He would cancel sessions all the time, and he would not show up, and he would like ghost me at the gym, and he was not putting in any effort at all. Well, and then lo and behold, it's no wonder then he didn't make it in the program, right? Because then he fell off and never came back. Well, just because he was paying for sessions and ghosting them and no showing them and not eating right and not following the plan. So then he didn't get results. Well, Darren, like 2 years later, completely died. Like 2 years later, 3 years later, like not very long, like completely, he's passed away. He is no longer here with us. And when I heard when I heard he died, it made me think, I'm like, man, if he would have just taken our coaching seriously. Because here's the thing. It may have been 5 years. It may have been like 5 years. Either way, we're talking about 2 to 5 years later, he died because of health complications. I know for a fact if he would have known he was going to die when he's had his first session with me, if he knew what was on the table, if he knew what was at stake, he would have executed like no one's business. If he would have had someone say, hey, Darren, if you don't get your shit together, you've got 3 years left to live. Guess what? He was crazy about his family. He had, I believe, nieces and nephews, and absolutely crazy about if someone said, hey, you have 3 years if you don't get your shit together. You only have 10 interactions with your parents before you die. Like whatever it was. Don't you think he would have got his shit together way faster? What if that happened to you? What if someone came to you and says, hey, you're going to die 10 years early if you don't change? If someone came to you and said, hey, your kids are going to binge eat and then suffer with binge eating for the rest of their lives if you don't get your binge eating under control. Hey, you're going to go to the grave with this weight if you don't get your shit together. It's kind of like that Christmas movie, right? Like you got the Ghost of Christmas Future, I think, where it's like the Ghost of Christmas Future or Christmas Yet to Come, whatever. It's been a minute since I've seen it. It took Scrooge into the future and he's like, oh my gosh, why don't they love me? And like, oh my gosh, he saw what was at stake if he doesn't change. But if you don't show up for yourself just because I don't feel like it or I'm not motivated, that's entry level. It tells me either you don't want what you say you want or you don't know what's at stake. This is why you need to sit down and go, okay, what if I don't get my shit together? What if I stay stuck the rest of my life? What if I go to my grave with this? What's on the table? Will you die early? Will your kids and continue the struggle? Because I'll be real, because we coach a lot of people who have struggled for years. Most people who are struggling right now tell me mom and dad struggled. Grandma, grandpa struggle. Their grandpa and grandpa struggled. Well, guess what? It's up to you to stop this generational bullshit going through your family. Every family has the one, right? Whether it be financially, whether it be health, whether it be weight loss, whether it be binge eating, whatever your shit is, every family has the one that stops it. And that could be you. But but here's the truth. You have to realize how much pain you're in. But the truth is, most of you listening to this are so used to being in pain, it doesn't hurt so bad anymore. You're kind of numb to it. So then it's like, I'm not motivated. I'll just do it tomorrow. And then it never comes. Then 30 years later, you're like, fuck, I'm still struggling. How the hell is this happening? I mean, this is literally the people we see in the coaching program every single day. But this is the thing is I know I'm taking forever on this one, but it's really important. This is why you need to remind yourself why you do the things that you already do outside of weight loss and transformation that you don't want to do when you're not motivated. It's because you have reasons rooted in pain. So I would sit down and get the reasons rooted in pain if you stay stuck. Because then when the day comes, you're like, fuck, all right, I guess I'm not motivated to go to the gym. I'm not motivated to meditate. I don't want to eat right. You literally look at that list and go, oh, that's what I'm choosing if I don't do this. So next, manifesto number 3, be honest with yourself and ask yourself if I even want the things I say I want. That's a big one. I'll be honest, and I'll try not to take as long on all these. Most people think it would be nice if they had the weight off, if they quit binge eating, if they fit in their clothes, but most people don't actually want it bad enough to change or invest in themselves. Like, it blows me away. Like, I see people all the time. They're like, it comes down to this is when excuses get made, right? And then here's saying it doesn't even always have to be about money, right? I'll see it all about money all day, every day. Someone applies for coaching and they're let's say it's outside their budget. But the cool thing is I'll be real with you. I have so many finance options where we can work with almost any budget you could give me. I could get you help. Right? Hell, I've even been known to find someone help outside of my company. I've had people come to our coaching program who are like, all right, I need help. I want to work with you. But then it's just outside the budget because the best and the most affordable never go hand in hand, but it's just not going to work at all. I have literally referred people out to other coaches outside my company because I think someone is either a better fit over there or it's in, and I know their prices and it's in their budget or whatever the case is. But here's the thing, like the way that I view so much of this stuff is view it kind of like search and rescue. I was always told in the world of search and rescue, like helicopters, like crashed a boat in the ocean. If there are 20 people in the water and 10 slots on the helicopter, who do they help? I'm always told it's the people that are swimming towards the helicopter. Here's the truth. Most of you guys are not swimming towards the helicopter. Most of you are like, oh, someone save me. But then it comes down time to, you actually have to put action, effort, or resources in. And all of a sudden you don't have any. Like I said, I've seen this with people with coaching, like, oh, I can't afford it. Okay, cool. Well, what if I could make the numbers affordable? Would you do it? Probably not. Oh, so, here's my thing. A lot of times with some of these options, like with coaching, like I'm not looking to get rich off somebody. Like I just want to help. But the thing is, money and finances and investing shows priority. Like I've even but asking someone, hey, if I could make the numbers work, would you still want to get help? And they go, I don't think so. You have to ask yourself, do you even want the things you say you want? Because if you do, why are your actions changing? Because it doesn't even have to be money, right? Why are we not executing the things I show you on the podcast? Why are you not following the all the free shit I put out? I'll be totally real with you and I'll be arrogant for just a second. My free content is better than most people's paid content. My free courses are better than most people's paid courses. My Instagram account is going to give you more and better information than most people's paid coaching programs. My free fat loss group, my fat loss simplified group, I have so much shit in that group that most people should never need to hire a coach. But the problem is, why don't we execute then? It goes down to, do you actually want the things you say you want? It's easy to think, it would be nice if I could lose the weight. It'd be nice if I could quit binge eating. It'd be nice if I could stop this generational bullshit so my kids don't struggle. Cool. Well, then why aren't our actions changing? So you have to honestly ask yourself, do you actually want these things enough to change? Or do you just think it would be nice? And I'll be totally real with you. Most people I talk to think it would be just nice. But when it comes time to put their actions in check, that's a big thing. This is why it's on the Motivation Manifesto list. Is no wonder you're not motivated if you don't even fucking want it, right? If you're never motivated, it's because you think it'd be nice, but you don't actually want it. Otherwise your actions would change. You know what I mean? It's almost like we see this with kids a lot, like with areas outside of weight loss. Like a lot of you guys have kids that are like we'll call it the bratty teenager who doesn't have money, can't afford anything, but they're also not willing to go get a job. Right? Your kid bitches to you. Oh, mom, I'm broke. Can you pay for this? Oh, I don't have money. I can't afford that. I want to go out to eat with my friends. I can't afford it. And you go, you could get a job. And they go, but I don't want one. Well, I guess you don't want to afford going out to eat with your friends and money very much. That's what you would tell your kid. So why is it different for you? It's not. Next, manifesto number 4. This is the ultimate hack, by the way. You want to talk about a hack to get and stay motivated? This is it. Motivation manifesto number 4. Get around motivated people. You have to understand that most of your issues go away getting around the right squad of people. We see this with kids, right? You could take I just smacked my mic out of my face. Excuse me. You could take a kid who's a great kid. I've seen this happen a million times. A fantastic kid. Get him around some shitheads. Good kid starts to leave, doesn't he? Not leave the situation. He starts to turn into the rotten egg too. You're no different. You know why you're not motivated? Is because you hang around a bunch of stuck, unmotivated people. This is proven everywhere, in animals, in nature, in psychology, and in humans. We unconsciously become like those we spend most amount of times with. If you are a positive person, if you are a positive person and hang out with a bunch of negative assholes, you will turn into a negative asshole. If you are overweight and you start hanging out with a bunch of people who prioritize their health, fitness, and well-being, guess what? You will unconsciously lose more weight because you'll start doing what they do. And if you start hanging around a bunch of fat, broke, unmotivated, and stuck people, guess what? You're going to become, over time, fat, broke, unmotivated, and unhappy, just like them. If you don't make very much income, if you're broke, you start hanging around wealthy people, all of a sudden you're going to find ways to earn more money. You're going to get raises, things like that. Guys, they've even proven this in animals. It's crazy. You could take a feral pig on a farm. That motherfucker breaks out, goes out into the wilderness for a month. He will come back with muscles, hair, and tusks because his physiology adapts to environmental circumstances. It's proven by science, neuroscience, and psychology. Your brain, you have to understand, we always evolve to what our environment is. You can break this down to the cellular protein expressions. Like go study, there's a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's got some great material on this if you're nerdy like me. But we become like those we associate with. Motivation is going to leave you. You need to get around people who are disciplined. You need to get around people who are motivated. And if you don't have that, that should be your number one priority. And it doesn't have to be in person. If you're not inside my Fat Loss Simplified group, there's a free hub of thousands of people who are moving forward, making progress, and winning for free. So get in there, engage with them, post in there, comment on their shit, and all of a sudden you're getting more fired up, right? Go to a gym and work out with people who are in the shape you want to be in, right? Go join clubs, go do things, go get out there, wherever that is, where the people were, find the groups where the version of you that you're trying to be is at, and just go be there. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. Guys, when I got into business for myself, I just wanted to get in there. I still do this. I just want to get in the room. Guys, I am intimidated in most rooms I go into on the day-to-day basis. I was just in a room today. I'm in a mentorship program, and I was in a room today with a bunch of other online coaches. And I am like I'm like middle of the road or lower on the totem pole with the success in that group. I'm intimidated. I'm like, fuck, do I even belong here? That's the room I need to be in. Because guess what? They're pulling me up. It's the same thing here. Half of your motivation issues is because you are in the wrong room. You need to get in the room with the people who are the versions that you want to be. If it's motivation, you need to get around motivated motherfuckers. And it's as simple as that. And get out of the rooms of the stuck motherfuckers. Because I can tell you, if all of your friends are using terminologies like, I'm not motivated, I've always been like that, I'm all or nothing, I'm stuck, I'm fat, whatever. I'm not saying don't take this out of context. I'm not saying don't hang out with people because of their body or whatever. But I'm saying, you know what? We all know people who are always bitching about they're stuck. People who are always out of shape and they never get where they're wanting to be. I'm not saying don't hang out with fat people or people who are overweight or anything like that. I'm saying that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, because I know some people are going to be on here like, oh my gosh, Jared's fat shaming. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is you got to be very protective of your energy in the people you spend the most amount of time with. And if you are surrounded by, if you have a goal in, let's say this world, if like you want to lose a bunch of weight, but all of your friends are overweight and talking you out of going to the gym and always making fun of you for ordering better food, and making better decisions and investing in yourself, that's why you can't be successful, because it's crabs in a bucket and they're pulling you back down. That's what I'm saying. All right. What number are we on? Number 5, manifesto number 5. Here, this is a big one. I want you to use any resistance as a trigger for deliberate action. Use any resistance as a trigger for deliberate action. Here's what I mean by that. When you aren't motivated, when motivation is fucking gone and you're like, I don't want to do it, that should be your trigger to execute. Right? Like, think of it this way. When you get startled and your hands go up, someone jumps around, you go, and your hands jump up, you getting scared was the trigger for your hands to come up to protect you. It was shit, and your hands came up. It's the same thing with this. When you get resistance, there's an amazing book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. You should go buy it right now. David's the mastermind behind the podcast production. David, I want you to put the Amazon link for The War of Art in the show notes, please. But here's the thing, guys. Stephen Pressfield talks about you need to use resistance as the trigger for deliberate action. As in, when you go, I don't want to go to the gym, you need to immediately go to the gym. When you go, fuck, I don't want to meditate, you need to get up and go meditate. You need to use you not wanting to do the thing as the trigger for deliberate all-in action, and it will change your life. Because right now, you listen to that voice in your head. I don't want to go to the gym. Maybe I should. No, I'm an all-or-nothing person. I think I'll just start over Monday. Fuck that. Fuck you. Don't do that. Use that trigger. Another guy that I study a lot, his name is Andy Frisella. He's the CEO of First Form. He calls that the bitch voice. When your bitch voice is like, you know what? You're an all or nothing person. Just start over Monday. Go, fuck you. No, I'm not. And you go do the thing you know you should do. There's an old saying, you can tell yourself things, but you can't listen to yourself. There's that bitch voice that wants you to stay stuck, the old conditioning, that the old self, we call it in psychology, that wants you to stay stuck because getting stuck is comfortable. It's predictable. It's what you're used to. Well, you're not going to get the life you want being stuck. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. I just did the last week's episode with Sal from Mind Pump. He talked about this. Like, this is a forever thing and you're going to have to do hard things. I'm not saying do anything unsustainable or ridiculous, but you can't just not do hard things. The part of the thing with discipline is you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. That's why it's called discipline. It's why eating a whole pizza and watching TV takes no discipline, because it's really fun. But this is also why discipline is what changes you. It's a whole different thing. So that's one of the best things you can do for when motivation leaves, because it will, is use the resistance as a sign to go, boom, I'm going to execute. Next, almost done, home stretch. Manifesto number 6. Don't be surprised when it leaves you without notice. This is a big one. Because again, guys, I'm not like, yeah, some of these will help you with motivation, but I want to just prepare you for when you're not motivated, because it's going to leave. Don't be surprised. It blows me away how many people are just like, oh, I can't believe it's gone. And then they're shocked when they're not motivated. Right? It's almost like, imagine like you have the best marriage or relationship in the world, and then all of a sudden your partner cheats on you or they leave you, and you're like, I never in a million years would have expected that. That's how half you motherfuckers act when motivation leaves. You're like, I can't believe it left me. And it's like, no one's holding, and then you act like someone's holding you back by chains from like doing your workout or whatever it is you want to do. Don't be surprised. You have to understand, are you surprised when your car runs out of gas? Are you surprised when, I don't know, you wake up on when you're tired, when your alarm clock goes off in the morning? Of course not. It's just how the game works. So it's no different with this. Motivation, do not expect it to stay here. That's the problem. Here, I'll put it this way. You know what? One of the most tactical pieces of advice you could do right now is this. Assume you're never going to be motivated, ever. Imagine you have a motivation disease where you will never be motivated for the next 10 years. Well, then I would say, are you still going to execute and follow the plan for changing your life? Well, if you actually give a damn, then you'll say absolutely. So the thing is, though, if that's the case, then like, well, what kind of plan would you have to have in place? What kind of mental preparation would you have to have in place if you know you're never going to be motivated for the next 10 years or the rest of your life? That's how I want you to think about this. I want you to go, what kind of mental frame, mental preparation and plan do I need to have in place if I'm going to have a motivation disease and never be motivated, or not for the next decade? Because here's what's going to happen. Now, when you are motivated, you can go, oh, this is nice. It's a nice surprise. But you're ready for the storm. You're ready for and expecting and anticipating not being motivated, and you have a plan in place. So this way, when you are motivated, it's like, oh, this is fucking dope. Because you have to think about this logically. Like if you said, what percentage of the time are you not motivated? Let's say it's 50%. That's so much. That is an insane amount. So is it practical to think you'll be motivated forever? Well, no. Well, do you want to keep your results forever? Well, probably. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this at like 37 minutes in. Well, then we have to have plans in place when we aren't motivated, which means all the stuff I've talked about, but specifically the last one, using the not being motivated as a trigger, using the resistance as a trigger to execute. But then also just don't be surprised. It's one of those things where you just can't be surprised when it leaves. It's like being surprised when your motivation leaves is literally like being surprised when your gas tank goes empty. It's like, no, it's supposed to. It's how this game works. Because you have to also understand how motivation is cultivated. I didn't touch on that yet. Motivation is most people have it backwards. Most people assume motivation is results, motivation, then action. Right? Most people assume that that you get like you're motivated, the motivation causes you to take action, then because of those actions you get you get results. It's not like that. It goes, in spite of not being motivated, you have action. We'll call it unmotivated action. Unmotivated action then produces results. Then motivation might pop out of the corner. That's how this game works. Inaction does not ever cause motivation to happen. Now, you think about it, why would it? You doing nothing somehow cultivates you to want to do shit? Of course not. That doesn't, an object, like, it's like isn't it Newton's laws that go, an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest? It's no different from motivation. If you've done nothing with your life and you've been stagnant for the last 30 years, well, of course you're not going to be motivated. Why would your physiology and psychology be motivated if you have not had action? That would be like your kid saying, Mom, I'm broke. I don't have a job. And you going, well, have you applied? And he goes, no, I'm just expecting them to call me. It's like, fuck, bro. That's not how this works. You have to go put in effort and action into applying. Then over time, they'll call you and hire you. But you don't just sit on your ass and expect these companies to hire you. You don't, that's not how it works. You have to apply and act. Then they accept you. Motivation is the same way. You don't just get blessed by the motivation fairy and then you're good. You have to put in deliberate, unmotivated action. The deliberate, unmotivated action then produces results. Now you start to get motivated. Lather, rinse, repeat. All right, last one. This is a big one. Sorry, I'm a little bit congested today. But manifesto number 7. Remember, it gets easier every time you show up when you are not motivated. I know right now, guys, if you've been showing up, if you've been doing this game and like you really struggle, if like showing up for yourself when you are not motivated is like the hardest thing ever. I get it. Been there, done that. But you have to understand, every time you show up for yourself in spite of not being motivated, you are forging the skills of discipline, self-reliance, grit, and proving to yourself you are someone who is worth being shown up for. It is a mini win, and you are literally like sharpening this blade. And actually, to be honest, you are forging the blade, then sharpening the blade of your mental skill set and the kind of person who you are. Because again, we don't get what we want. We get who we are. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We don't get what we want, we get what we are. Therefore, to get more, we have to become more. It's one of my favorite quotes by James Allen. But here's the thing, is every time you show up for yourself when you are not motivated, you are proving to yourself who you actually are, the version of yourself that you are. Then you start to get those things. This is why you have to understand it gets easier every time you do it. We're creatures of habit. You sucked at your job at first, now you're really good at your job. I used to I don't know, sometimes I wonder if I'm good or bad at this podcast game, but if you listen to episode number 1 and episode right now, they're two different people. I'm not saying I'm anything spectacular at podcasting, but I used to get made fun of for how I talk. I used to get made fun of for no one wanting to listen to me. I used to get made fun of, and they're like, oh, here's one of those Hamilton boys. They can't shut the fuck up. Well, now I get paid to talk, and I have a podcast that reaches hundreds of thousands and millions of people. So you have to understand that you get better at things. And you have to understand is if you suck at showing up for yourself when you're not motivated, just focus on the one. Like, all right, today I'm just going to show up for myself. I'll quit tomorrow, whatever. And then every time you do that, it's going to get easier and easier and easier. But every time you play this game where you're like, I'm going to execute only when I'm motivated. I'm going to go through your spurts of discipline, then you fall off. It's just going to get harder and harder and harder. So know that every time you show up for yourself when you don't want to, it's going to get easier over time. I promise. So that, my friends, is the Motivation Manifesto. The 7 things, actually, hang on, let me double check the subtitle. The Motivation Manifesto, the 7 things to do when motivation runs out, because it will. I really want to emphasize the because it will, because again, I know you're excited. Like we see this even in coaching. Someone invests and signs up for coaching, applies, gets accepted, signs up for coaching. They are so fired up. But we have to have that conversation of like, yo, just because we're here guiding you doesn't mean motivation is not going to go south. Your pattern of sabotage is you do excited. You have kid on Christmas morning, you're fired up because of the new program. Then about a month and a half, 2 months in, the old pattern kicks in. The difference is inside coaching, we're ready for it and we help you through it. But this is the pattern. This is why your answer isn't on the other side of another diet or another program or another coach or another whatever. This is the pattern of all of this, where you start something, kid on Christmas morning vibes, then it's over. And the motivation is over, I should say. This is why we have to have a plan in place for when motivation goes south. Because I would be doing you a disservice if I did not come on here and I'm teaching you about motivation and just give you shit that's going to fire you up. I would rather you not be fired up. Sorry. I would rather you not be fired up and you have a very calm understanding of, okay, I can win this war now. That's what this is about. So thank you again for tuning into today's episode. I really enjoy doing these. So don't get me wrong, I love my interviews with these amazing guests I have on, but I still love doing solo episodes with you guys with whatever content is going to be most helpful. Now, I do have a few things before we go. Number 1, like I said, if you want the Motivation Manifesto guide, showing it to the screen on the YouTube right now. If you want that to download to your phone, I made it again originally for my Fat Loss Simplified community, but I'll give it to you as well. We'll just have it in the show notes so you can just click it. It's a Canva PDF. You don't have to enter your email in or anything like that. You just click it and there's a download the phone button and that's it. Because I appreciate you being here. Second of all, if you are not in that group, that Fat Loss Simplified group, you will want to be, because I put in that's where content like this comes out first. Like I literally, like I'm telling you, you guys have no idea of the strategy and the mental side of what we do to make sure that we're giving you in that group the best content possible. Like it's not just what Jared thinks, it's what conversations are being happened, what you all are saying that you want to get. Like I have things in place in that group where to get feedback on what you guys are wanting, what you're struggling with, because I love you and I care about you and I appreciate your time and bandwidth and attention, and I want to solve your problems. Guys, a fun fact about me, I've always been in that realm of like, what problems do need solved? I just want to end suffering. That's all I want. And that's what we do in that group at a much deeper level than like Instagram and TikTok. So you'll want to join that. Link is below. Just add yourself. It's free and I'll make sure you get accepted. Also, if after having listened to this, you are wanting a little bit more individualized, tailored help, you can always apply for coaching below. Because the podcast I hold special, because you guys are a different quality. I always consider my podcast listeners a different quality of person, because it takes a special person to listen to me talk for 45 minutes straight. And I like to honor that, which is why if anyone applies for coaching from the podcast, I'm throwing in about $4,000 worth of stuff. No bullshit, totally serious. And also, we are basically having to cap how many clients we take on per month to keep and to ensure quality is at an all-time high with what we're delivering with coaching. So you basically get to the top of the list when you apply through the podcast, if I'm being honest with you. So that's why I have a special podcast link for those that apply for coaching in the description. And then if you're newer to all this and you're like, I don't even know where to get started with stuff, I do have a dope ass course. It's totally free. It goes through your email. It's a 5-day course. It's called the Fat Loss Checklist, and it'll walk you through the A to Z's of how to get long-term, simple, sustainable, and practical fat loss and get the goals that you want in a way that you don't have to give up your life. So that's what we have. Be sure, if you haven't already, subscribed to the show. It means a ton to me. All episodes are on YouTube now, so go ahead and check out the YouTube. Link is below for that as well. But everything as a whole is also, when anything that touches the podcast touches, is all on the podcast website, dietingfromtheinsideout.com. We have all the episodes there, all the resources there, all the show notes there. We even have the full shows transcribed into a vlog fashion. That way, if you would rather read or go through the cliff notes, those are there too. Otherwise, I love the fuck out of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you guys do for me. I will talk to you next time.